Hi everyone, good to see you from Arsuka and Naharia. We
And
just finished doing Hallel
yeah,
and learning.
and look at all this surrounding light. It's not really like this bright, but that's Hashem giving some, giving us more light
Right,
to work with
right.
here. Incredible.
Yeah.
So,
So,
so actually, a
what?
couple of days
Yeah.
ago, I wanted to discuss with you this like universal sadness that seems to have descended on people. But our people, they're gonna not want to dwell in that place. So people are trying to be brave. I'm not sure they know what they're trying to be brave about, but they're trying to make an effort to live their lives as they normally would.
Right.
I really think that's possible.
It's like that famous saying that if things happen long enough, you'll get used to anything, right?
Very true.
So, it's been a year now that we've been under this reality,
Yeah.
and which is not that awful, I must say, because all in all, we are living a normal life, right? A little bit, we go to a coffee place, we go shopping, we go to the movies, we go to work, we go to study, some of us, but we have a lot of family members in the army that we're worrying about, and friends in the army that we're worrying about. And we have those who are in less sheltered surrounding. And then we have, all this reality that, we don't know when the next alarm is going to go off.
That's our reality.
Right. And we don't know when, and if we have it on our phones, it's even worse because then we get the sirens from the whole country, which I consider it as masochism.
Yes, you made that very clear. I
Right.
have now emptied all that stuff off my phone.
Right. Because I just realized I have family all over Israel.
Yes.
And if I have the sirens for all of them going off, I'll just be on the phone constantly, 24/7, calling everywhere. And if they don't answer you for 5 minutes, you start imagining things and worrying and going crazy and they were like, we were just doing something, we were busy, whatever. And in the meantime, you'll be anxious for another hour or so, and or more, and you'll be just pumping yourself with cortisol. And when we're pumping ourselves with cortisol, from stress, so our immune system shuts down, our anxieties increase, our emotional well being decreases, our depression is more intense.
Definitely.
And I'm just not I'm not playing that game. I'm not allowing it into my space as much as I can. Obviously, I'm a human being and I have my moments, but as much as I can, I decided that I'm reducing it as much as I can. And logically, I must say that also, when I realized that there are so many bombs falling down without the siren going off,
Yeah.
I realized it's really so much not in my hands. You know, when my life will come to an end, it will come to an end. There's really not much I can do. Catch me on the way to the supermarket or, any other necessity. And so I just need to live my life as normal as possible. And and just to fill up my life with as much normalcy and friendship and smiles and as much good things as we can. And I think that in this extreme situation, we're also learning how to live in the craziness of our own personal regular lives.
Everything's heightened.
Exactly.
All of
No, but
our.
I'm saying that even people who are outside of the country,
Mm,
everybody's dealing with their own whatever stressful
yeah.
situation in life,
Yeah.
whether it's the same neighbor for 20 years, whether it's the same spouse for 20 years, whether it's the uh, children issues or financial issues or medical issues, whatever it
It's
is.
true.
The more cortisol I will pump into the situation, the less I will be in control, the less I will keep my serenity, the more my medical condition will decrease. So the only thing really that is in my control is to control how much cortisol I let into my system.
Ay, ay, ay.
And I control that with inducing um, pleasure into my life as much as I can and reducing stress as much as I can. So I think this can be useful, if we're learning to do this in such a stressful situation now in Israel. I think this can be useful also for all people around the world, whatever you're dealing with. You don't have to get to such intensity of
War.
of war and yeah, circumstances to learn that lesson.
Yeah, but
Take it
to
from us.
but something. I think that the concept of community and like encouraging each other and is really, you see the importance of it, and it's soothing.
Right,
Having places to go where you can get together with the community,
right,
having somebody call you, call somebody
right,
else. And what's nice is that's part of the nature of the holiday of Sukkot.
right. That was my next
It's like I have
sentence.
people calling me who I haven't heard from in like months. Oh, hi, can you come and sit in my sukkah? And I haven't heard from them for
Right.
months.
Or they come, can we come and sit in your sukkah, right? Like,
It's Which
or
is
you call
great,
someone and invite someone to your sukkah.
and it's
So,
great to see that.
right. And the whole idea of Judaism is just so filled with community ideas, right?
Definitely,
Every Shabbat, we
definitely.
invite our friends and
Yeah,
family,
yeah,
our neighbors,
yeah,
whoever, just
yeah.
a lonely person on the neighborhood,
Right.
whoever it is that we invite, right? We create our community, and we a little bit forgot about it because we are also, in such a modern world that we forgot that we can say hello to just a neighbor or a random person on the street and add them to our community,
Yeah, that's a
right?
lot of fun. People who you can tell they're alone, and you
Or
see
even not,
them
yeah, alone or not alone, yeah,
all need connection, and you can invite them to come
right.
over.
They don't
It's,
even need to be alone. They could be like somebody that you had a like, wow, I would like to meet that person. It could be
mm,
from compassion,
yeah, true.
right? And it could be from like, wow, I really want to get to know you.
Curiosity.
Yeah, like you look like a nice person. And then some people will say, but they're a stranger. How can you walk over to a stranger? And I'm like, maybe some of your best friends right now, maybe even someone you married was once a stranger, right? Before you got to know them. Everybody was a stranger before you got to know them.
He's still a
So,
stranger.
well, that's a different story, yeah. But sometimes, like you really need to keep that in our minds that once upon a time strangers are now maybe our best friends.
And also, I think that the circumstances and the energy of the situation also it seems to bring out the best in people. It's like
Right.
people are more compassionate and more sympathetic and more willing to offer their help, and it's like, wow, it's like all that is heightened.
Right. And if we spoke about cortisol,
Yes.
actually walking over to a person and
Mm-hmm.
getting to know them
Mm-hmm.
induces oxytocin, which is a good hormone, a good hormone that induces us with joy and love. So,
It's good for you.
yeah, it's like, we always talk about hormonal lack of balance,
Right, we
right?
do.
But it's not about the chemicals that we can take, to change our hormonal balance. It's about how we
Change our
change.
lives, our
Exactly.
lifestyle.
Exactly. Whether it's our nutrition, whether it's our attitude towards life, whether it's becoming friends with people, which induces us with more oxytocin and other good stuff. And versus if we don't share our lives with the community, if we don't show compassion, show empathy, and being shown back empathy and compassion and love. But we need to start. We can't wait for somebody to come and tell us, I love you.
I
If we
know.
don't walk over to someone and say, hey, how are you? Are you having a
I
good day? Are you
know.
having a rough
I
day?
know.
Let's be friends, right?
Yeah. But a
And
lot of us that, especially that are Olim, come from cultures where that doesn't happen. You don't have meeting places of, it's not small. You don't have meeting places where you can meet people and connect with
You'd be
them.
surprised. There are plenty, I know plenty of Israelis who've been here forever, 50, 60, 70 years,
And they
and
don't
they're
do
very lonely too. Yeah, it's not only an
Oh,
Olim situation. And it's also important to remember that because sometimes you can get into a victim mode as an Ole Hadash also. It's very,
no.
right? But what I'm saying is that it happens to long Israelis too.
Wow. Well, you see the guys hanging out in the coffee shops on Hagaton,
So yeah, but like
but
some
there's
of
not.
them are maybe better friends,
Yeah.
but there's so many people who don't even have who to share a Shabbat meal with, or whether they're Olim or not Olim, it doesn't matter. And that's another thing, don't sit there and wait for somebody to invite you for Shabbat. Pick up the phone call and invite them for Shabbat. It doesn't matter if you're married or not married, choose the people that in your kind of like pool, like if it's you're married and you prefer to hang out with unmarried people. If you're married, you can hang out with unmarried people too. But if you're unmarried and you're less comfortable inviting married families, married couples, then invite single people. It could be, like the other day we were at this place. We met a bunch of people that over the years in this community, a bunch of people who were at our Shabbos table for years. Like, we always had,
Oh,
and all these people now have children. Like they met at our Shabbos table, and now we have all these, sort of foster grandchildren around the world, that are, I feel like, since they met at my Shabbos table, they're like my grandchildren now. So it's like you could have the privilege you know, um,
makes
and
things
I'm telling you,
easier.
it's so much easier for people to meet each other in this natural environment of Shabbos tables,
Yeah.
Shabbos/holiday tables, versus, hey, I have someone for you. Do you want to meet them for a blind date? And they're like, oh, who are they? And then you come on this blind date and you're like, well, their nose is too long, they're too short, they're too tall, they're too fat, they're too thin, and
Which has
and
been the issue for centuries.
right, right. And I want to tell you, the people that have matched up around my Shabbos table, I would have never thought to match them up ever.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
because
I'm waiting.
right, right. So, but yeah, you could have a share in that great mitzvah. And it says, what is Hashem doing 24/7? He's matching matches, right? So you could be like Hashem, matching the next match, making someone else happy by inviting them for a Shabbos table.
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
next time they'll invite you. But
Yeah.
if you just sit there and wait, and you don't need to have a lot of money to host people either, really. Like, maybe one day we'll do a block on, like on how to host, like in a non expensive way.
And
But
this is like,
really,
and when she says this, she's not just talking about Israel. It's like this
everywhere.
community everywhere in the United States and wherever. You can just turn your perspective around and look at your community in a different way. It's very much in a box, not
Right,
much spontaneity.
right.
We'll get together once every
You're my
six
cup of tea,
months,
right?
right? Or we'll go, to go, right? We'll have tea at the golf course, just the
No, I'm
three
saying
of
you are
us.
not a cup of my cup of tea. Like we'll look at people like they're not our cup of tea.
That, now I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
definitely. That happens a lot.
right.
It happens a
And
lot.
it's not fair. Like, do you want the whole world to look at you as if you're not their cup of tea? But in a way, that's what happens. You don't get invited much because other people don't see you as their cup of tea. And just like someone was sitting here before with us, and she was saying, they invited someone, and they weren't completely their cup of tea. Whatever, they had an animal with them, and it wasn't very convenient, but they were. Swallowing it. And you don't have to invite that person every week. You can invite them once in a month, once in 2 months. And they'll invite you, and then somebody else, they'll meet someone at your table, and they will invite each other. And then, the cycle will grow. And it won't all depend on you, but you've started a cycle. You've started a mitzvah cycle.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
that's what makes our world better. What makes our lives better. It would pumps up us with love and oxytocin and good hormones that improve our lives, and we improve the world's well-being that way.
These are like almost like tips that people don't realize. living outside of Israel. They don't realize how important community is. They don't realize it. You know, it's,
And I want to say also that, that's what held up the Jewish community throughout centuries.
I'm sure.
That is the secret
Yeah.
of the Jewish community, is that we were always there for each other and we always had community. We always went to shul, we always took care of each other, we always invited each other, even if you weren't exactly my cup of tea. The sense of like, I have my boundaries, I like you, I don't like you, it's like it wasn't, so much an issue. And the famous story about the Baal Shem Tov, how the Baal Shem Tov was born, because his parents didn't have children for many, many years, and they couldn't have children. And this beggar walked by the house, and they took him in, and he blessed them with children. And that year they had the Baal Shem Tov.
Wow.
So it's like if you have like this someone that is not completely your cup of tea, you don't know what miracles you're letting into your house, what blessing you're letting into your house.
Definitely.
Whether it's a financial blessing, whether you're waiting to get married, whether you're waiting to have children, whatever it is that you're waiting for, start the cycle of reconnecting with Hashem, reconnecting with holiness, reconnecting with the surrounding light of the sukkah, which will inspire you with an inner light. And this is like this is all it is. Before we enter the new year, the blessing of the new year, Cheshvan. This is like the beginning. This is that time.
It'll make all this a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I think this is part of, I mean, though I can't speak for the man, but I think it's part of Hashem's goal, to bring us together, to unify
We're
us.
trying to receive all the time. We're not asking, what can I give? We're asking all the time, can I please have this? Can I have that? But what are you willing to give for that? Right? Are you willing to give up a little discomfort? This is the whole idea of the sacrifice in the Torah.
Mhm.
What sacrifice are you willing to give to get something that you want? To mumble off a few words in the prayer is nice, but are you willing to give something that will be a little bit of a discomfort in
Try
life?
something different, you mean? Like,
Also,
try
also,
something different.
but on a spiritual level, are you willing to give a little bit of your heart away to maybe receive something bigger? Then the next spiritual growth would be: are you willing to, grow and do the right thing without thinking about what you will receive from it?
Yeah.
But at least start with what you will receive from it. At least sometimes we need to start there, our spiritual growth.